Ever since I was very little, I loved getting to go on safari whenever I went to visit my family in South Africa. I knew then that I wanted to be a safari ranger when I grew up. I was fascinated with the animals and loved the outdoors. And the game reserve was one of my favorite places in the world, even though I only got to go there very seldom. As I got older, I became interested in and started focusing on studying other things history and policy and politics mostly. But I still often thought about the bush and always wondered what it would have been like to actually work there. I'm still very passionate about wildlife and about conservation. I just didn't think that I would get the chance to fulfill that particular dream. Thanks to the Burch Fellowship, however, I did get that chance, and it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life and incredibly special to me. I got to work for an organization called Wildlife Act, which is an NGO that supports public reserves in South Africa by monitoring their endangered species for them. The reserves themselves don't have the resources to monitor the species effectively, and so what Wildlife Act does is very important for conservation. I lived with Wildlife Act monitors in secluded campsites deep inside the reserves themselves, often without luxuries I once took for granted electricity, warm water, or phone service, even. I was able to live and work in three very unique parks Hluflwe Mfolozi, KwaZulu, and Mkuzi, each for a period of 2 weeks. In each park, I met a different group of fellow volunteers and monitors, all of whom shared my passion for wildlife. I have new friends from all over the world, from various countries in Europe, in Africa, and some from the US as well. While working with Wildlife Act, I helped to set up camera surveys for leopards and cheetah in order to monitor those populations and track their movements, as well as to help with research conducted by scientists in the area. I also got the chance to track elephant herds and rhinoceros, these big animals that are particularly at risk of poachers who are after their tusks and their horns, respectively. But most often, I was out with the team of monitors following the African wild dogs. African wild dogs, or painted dogs, are one of the most endangered species in Africa and the world. Like wolves, they live and hunt in packs, and range very far in search of food, making them very susceptible to poachers' traps. We would follow them for many hours each day, twice a day, tracking them using radio telemetry collars and trying to ensure that all of the dogs were accounted for and unharmed. And in between, we would monitor the other animals as well. Several of the packs had litters of puppies, and so it was important that we also keep track of their status and ensure that they were growing up healthy. I got to leave on an optimistic note. We had the first sighting of one pack's large litter of puppies, all of whom appeared energetic and healthy, on my last day with Wildlife Act. I learned a lot from this experience, from doing something radically different from any of my previous jobs or anything I've been studying here at UNC. But I also learned how connected the issue of conservation and the threats faced by the dogs and other animals are to what I've already been studying. These threats are bound up with issues of development, poverty, and education, and to the increase of globalization. I came away from my Burch Fellowship with a renewed passion for changing the world and a greater commitment to work hard towards that goal. Whatever I do from now on, I will carry that commitment and that passion with me. As I continue into the next stage of my life, whatever that might be, I'll always have this adventure, these memories, and this experience. Thank you so much.